Hello, welcome to the latest episode of the Coaches Dugout podcast, a podcast by coaches for coaches. Now, if you don't already know, just follow us on IG. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcast, as well as YouTube. So just search the Coaches Dugout podcast. We are on YouTube as well. Now, today we have a special edition, and the topic for today is the role of assistant coaches, assistant football coaches, by the way. And we've got a couple of guests in the show today, and let me introduce them to you. First up, the head coach of Tanjong Pagar United, who has done absolutely brilliantly this season after finishing last season, and they secured a 5th position in the SPL this season. Welcome to the Coaches Dugout podcast, Mr. Hasrin Jailani.
Hi Sasi. First of all, thank you very much. I've been waiting for this moment for so long.
Why?
A phone call or a message from you.
Really?
Ken, I really want to be in your podcast, bro.
Thank you so much. Honored because of that as well, right? So thank you so much. And I also have the assistant coach for Balestier Khalsa Football Club, Mr. Syed Azmir.
Nice to see. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Of course, let's before we start talking about the roles of assistant coaches and stuff like that, right? Let's talk about the SPL a little bit. You know, yesterday was a great day for football, for the SPL, a great advert for the game itself, right, in Singapore. Let's start off with Balestier, right?
Yeah.
How did you think the season went for you guys this season?
I mean, we have a lot of ups and downs, definitely. Yeah. You know, I think as a whole, we lost a couple of points that I think we should have just secured the 3 points. There was a lot of rearranging of positioning or players, you know, in terms of injuries and suspension and all that. But I guess it was quite surprising when we managed to actually secure 3 points with, you know, against the bigger teams. You know, it's a bit of a shock for us as well. But eventually, I think the spirit when we go into the game against bigger teams, it kind of like it's different. But we are untouchable in Toa Payoh.
Definitely.
Wait, there are a couple of points that I picked up, and very good points that you raised, right? Number one, when you talk about the so-called smaller teams playing against the bigger teams, why do you think this is so? When you play against the bigger teams, why do you think? Hasrin, do you have a reason for this? Why do you think that, you know, maybe a smaller team might upset? Speaking of upsets, right? You guys are the only ones who beat Albrechts.
Yeah.
Right? So why do you think this is so?
Okay, first of all, to make to get it right. Okay, we are the first team this year to beat Albrechts.
The only team.
The only team.
Yeah.
Okay, and also the only team to score 4 goals yesterday.
Yes,
right?
yesterday.
Correct. For us, I'm talking about Tanjong Pagar. For us this season, there is no fear. To be honest,
Right,
you know, we love playing against the big team. To be honest, but playing against LCS is a bit difficult. But for us, we give all up for every game.
Nice.
Be it a big or small team, but we are used to be the smaller teams in the league, you know.
Right,
I think this season has been great, excellent for us. So it gives us a lot of confidence. So I can say that for us, the game itself, all games are equal. Yeah.
I just want to talk about Syed, your point on being unbeaten at Toa Payoh. I didn't know this, right? Being unbeaten at Toa Payoh.
Not I say unbeaten lah. I mean,
as in very difficult to beat.
yeah. You
right?
see, we drew with Flying City Sailors.
Yeah.
You know, we beat Hougang.
Right.
I think the other big results we get, I can't remember. But
The recent one, you beat Hougang, right?
Yeah.
But is there a reason in terms of the pitch? Because there has been complaints this season about the pitch at Toa Payoh Stadium.
Toa Payoh has got to be one of the oldest stadiums in Singapore, I guess. And I think the advantage we have is because we train there every single day.
True.
You know, and we struggle when we go to artificial pitches.
Yeah.
Right,
you know,
right.
like Jurong or even Tampines South.
Okay.
The ball travels faster at the artificial field, so it's not like in overseas where we get to train on the match day location one day before the game. We just get used to the field on the day of the match itself. So the players also sometimes say that it's quite difficult to train on a normal field, and then after that go to match. It's a different tempo altogether.
I think at the end of the day, right, that is the reason why there's home ground advantage, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell this, you know, home ground advantage, they make use of that really, really well, you know. It suits their playing style.
Right.
So I feel that not easy for us, the team, any other teams playing in Toa Payoh, it's not easy. It's very, very difficult.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nicely done. Now, we want to talk about the roles of the assistant coaches, and again, I want to set this out straight. This is an educational, informational stuff that goes out for coaches' education. The roles of assistant coaches, because I think in the past we want to answer questions like, does the assistant coach just go out there and put out markers, put out beeps for the players? Do they actually have a say in the planning stage for with the coaches long term? Is it a stepping stone for assistant coaches to come in there and then become the head coach? You know, those kind of things. We want to answer those questions. Now, Hasrin, we start with you. I think you've had bags of experiences in terms of coaching, right? Being an assistant coach, head coach now, obviously, and throughout, you know, you've coached youngsters, under 23s, youth, and the senior team as well, right? Now, in a nutshell, right, how do you define the role of an assistant coach?
On my part, the roles and responsibility of an assistant coach, we must make it clear, you know. Let known that it's very important for you to know as an assistant coach what is your role.
Who explains this?
As far as I'm concerned, I feel you must know, and also the head coach must let you know that these are the roles and responsibility, which is very, very important. So if you know this, then there's a boundary. At the end of the day, the head coach decides on every single thing. But you have to have the good working relationship with the head coach.
Syed, how about you? You have been assistant coach this season as well, and assisting Marco and the likes of the other coaches as well. So, what was your role basically as the assistant coach?
Okay, my first season as a assistant coach was definitely when I was coaching the Home United Family back in 2018. 2017. And I was the head of youth development back then, and then you know, during that time, head of youth don't have a team to coach, so they still want me to continue coaching because I was still young. So they put me as an assistant coach at the Premier League. But then my head coach was Bernard Lan. You know, Bernard Lan was really old, so the the responsibilities he told me was that I have to take the team for training. You know, the full training, not just the beginning of the session. And after that, it was different experience when I go to Geylang to assist Noor Ali. In 2019. So Noor Ali gave me a specific role to play, which is I have to take the first part of the training before he takes the last part of the training. Which means the activation, the warm up, the passing drill, the possession game, leading up to the final phase of training where he actually the topic of the main session. So that was the thing I had.
And it's good because those were different experiences, right? And in the second part where you were assisting Noor Ali, so it was spelled out to you,
definitely.
between the head coach and the assistant coach, right? So how about this year, Hasrin? You know, I think, was there any lines as in like you can't do something or you can do something as an assistant coach this year at Tanjong Pagar?
In Tanjong Pagar is special, you know. We work closely, the technical staff, I call it the technical staff, because from head coach to the assistant coach to even the COE coach, we share responsibility holistically. We work together. So, but at the end of the day, we know there is one leader or one head coach who make the decision. So we discuss, we brainstorm, but at the end of the day, there will always be the head coach there to make the decision. So it's been going very well for us this season. So there's something that we.
How big is your coaching technical team there? I see quite a number, which is good to see actually. So how big?
So over there, you got myself as the head coach. We got Alam Shah, Hirman. We got Hafiz O. And then we've got Musawe, Fajar as a goalkeeper coach. So we work very closely together, and then it works very well for us this season. So we're going to continue with this.
Now, it's a good point that you raised in terms of the different technical coaches you have. You know, we have goalkeeper coaches, fitness coaches, right? And how important is that, Syed? Like, to have a specific coach for specific reasons?
I mean, it's always to have. I mean, two heads are better than one. You know, like sometimes the head coach, he cannot see everything. You know, especially in a game. That's why we need multiple heads on the bench, because sometimes, like for example, my role during when I was at Geylang, in a game, you can see the first 15-20 minutes, I was the one on the sideline giving instruction. Given by, no Ali was the one who asked me to do that. Why? Because he is not looking at our team. He is looking at the opponent. So while he is looking at the opponent on how he moves, I am in charge of our team to make sure that the plan that is that we want to execute is being executed properly. And then after that, the moment he's done with his 20 minutes of observation, then he will go out, and then that is when I step back. And then whatever I see, I will just discuss with him. You know,
this is already very interesting, right? It's a very good point, like the points that you raised, right? And for some people, viewers at home who are watching this, listening to this as well, you might not know this, right? The first 20 minutes that the coach is actually not looking at your team, he's looking at the opponents, and it's a very good point that you raised. Now, how about qualifications? Now, you'll talk about more about that, giving instructions and stuff, right? How about qualifications? Assistant coaches in the SPL at the moment, right? Do they need to have an A, or what is it now?
I think it's an A, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
But for me, the knowledge is much more important than the qualification, honestly, you know, because as an assistant, you will be an asset if you are knowledgeable about the game rather than you have the qualification. But to be another eye for the head coach, you need experience, and then you need that good working relationship with the head coach as well. But at the end of the day, we are living in a society or in a country where qualification is important. So we need to have that.
Right. Is it a specialist role, the assistant coaches? When I ask you that, right, is it as an assistant coach, can you only be an assistant coach? Do you see someone being, well, this guy is good, but I think he can only be an assistant coach, that kind of thing? Do you think it's a specialist role for some? Syed? Syed is dying to say something, or
I don't
he's
know.
stuck.
I've seen a lot of coaches that actually has been assisting a lot of head coaches for a very long time. Also a good stepping stone. Olin has been there. No Ali was there. Ideal Sharin was there a couple of years before they become a head coach. To be honest, when I was at Geylang, my main aim was, one day I want to become a head coach. And then 6 months down the job, I told Noali, I said, the amount of things you think about and talk about as a head coach, I think I have to think twice before I actually want to decide becoming a head coach, because the responsibilities is so much different. The people that you have to convince, the management, the responsibility is huge. So some people will take it like this is a specialist job. I think it may be, because you need to have a certain set of skills, not just being on the field, it's off the field. Because the players, the relationship of the technical staff, it's part of the assistant coach as well.
Nice. We will get to that. You've raised some very interesting points, right? How about you, Hasrin?
For me, it depends on individual aspiration. Alright? It can be like what Azmir said, you just want to be an assistant coach. But
listen, his reason is different because he said that after a while he think, damn, this is a little bit maybe too much. You talk about, and we've been through this. Right? You as the head coach now, your head is running 24 hours, 24/7. Same when I was back in 2010. The head is always running.
True.
There's no rest. So his reason is different. But how about you want it? You really want to be assistant coach only?
No, for me, that's why I'm talking about individually. But if you ask me about my personal view, for me, I want it. One day I know that I want to be a head coach. So somebody else might think that they also have the same aspiration, but for me it's different. I know one day I want to be the head coach because I want to see how far I can go as a head coach. So that's my aspiration before this. So and then I was given the chance 2016 to lead Geylang. So for me, I know my route. So at certain point I said I want to be the head coach. I'll make sure I'll try. Whether I see whether I can do it or not is another story.
Okay, now you talk about your roles, right? Let's go back, because I asked you at the beginning of the show what is exactly the role. Now we've got on pitch roles, off pitch roles, and I don't know what else there is, right? But on the pitch as an assistant coach, what do you guys do? just for listeners out there. On the pitch, when training starts, what do you guys do?
Actually, it depends whether if you have a fitness coach lah. You know, if you have a fitness coach, then the fitness coach will actually. I'm talking about
Yes,
the what I always go through lah. The fitness coach will actually take the activation, the warm up, and that is when the next phase come, which is when the assistant coach come in lah.
Okay.
So usually it's either a passing drill, possession game, anything that is leading to the main topic of the day.
Alright.
Which is, for example, if Noali wants to do towards the next game, we want to attack through the middle.
Okay.
So whatever we do, like passes and everything, going towards that, it has to be done by assistant coach.
Okay.
So or a specific movement
Right.
that he wants to do for the game.
Yeah.
So I have to do it in a passing drill way before I hand it over to him,
Okay.
and he wants to make sure that when he does it, the players are doing that.
Nice.
Yeah.
How about off the pitch, Hasrin?
Off the pitch is more with the head coach.
Okay.
Alright, Ken, discussing about the plan for day-to-day session,
Okay.
tactics and all that.
Yeah.
So more or less you'll be with the head coach to discuss, to brainstorm again, and then to look at certain players and all that, or whether this player or that player are good enough to be in the coming games and all that lah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's basically discussions and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And planning.
Yeah,
That's
more
the
to
most
planning.
important stuff.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys this thing, right? As assistant coaches, right? How do you get the job? Okay, we can't speak for people in Europe and stuff like that, right? In Singapore, how do you get a job as an assistant coach? Is it by application? Is it by a recommendation? Because you are a head coach now, you're an assistant coach. Recommendation, application, or do you come together as a team, head coach, assistant coaches, and like in what it should be by right? How does that happen here in Singapore?
Application, bro. No. On a serious
time.
on a serious note, in Singapore context, it's basically more of whether you are comfortable with that someone, right? Ken, you will always have somebody in mind.
Okay.
So which you are comfortable to work with.
Okay.
Which have
You're speaking now is as if you are the assistant now, as in
yes.
Okay.
I put it
Right.
in a way where if I'm an assistant coach, you are the first head coach to take me as an assistant coach.
Okay.
Back in 2010. So I'm
There you
speaking
go.
to my head coach now.
So we're supposed to ask you back. How do you get him as your
Yeah.
assistant?
So basically, it's the relationship.
Okay.
Right, you have
Right,
because in Singapore context you need to have that, or in football context you need to have that. You cannot be somebody you pick up from the street. Oh, you be my head coach. My assistant coach. But you have to have that working relationship. You know that someone that over the years you go to example a coaching course together, and then this he can be my assistant, something like that. So you are more comfortable in terms of discussion and all that.
Yeah. So, but that goes back to the point about me. If I'm the head coach,
Yeah.
I'm getting my own assistant coaches.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Because I think the comfortability is very important for the head coach.
Okay.
Because like for example, like how Noali got me was that he knows that my contract as a national under 15 coach is ending, and he knows me personally.
Okay.
He's comfortable with me.
Right.
He knows
Right.
what I can bring to the team or how I can help him.
Right.
So he kind of like, hey, are you interested to be my assistant coach next year? So, of course.
Right.
It's not something that because it's very difficult for you to apply for assistant coach because the head coach doesn't know you, and how am I supposed to work with you if I don't know you? You get me?
If how about if I'm a coach and I'm unemployed, right? No, seriously, right? It happens, right?
Yeah.
I'm unemployed and I'm just going around Singapore and say, okay, this is the end of the season.
Yeah.
I want to apply. Is that a way also to get a job
No,
as an assistant?
okay. Let me ask you. You are former head coach, or you are former assistant coach at this point of time, when you ask that question. So if you are a former head coach and you want to apply for a job as an assistant coach,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Are you able to put down your ego and work with the head coach?
Okay. Good point.
You get what I mean? It can be a problem in the future.
But the fact that I'm applying,
Yeah. So you are ready for that.
Yeah.
And then it depends on whether the head coach are
okay,
comfortable to work with somebody
or
who
feel threatened.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
So,
In Singapore,
possibly.
in Singapore context, it's always that.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
So I love not the idea. I think it should be the model should be you have a team.
Yes.
That's much more better, like what they do in Europe.
Right.
That should be the way.
Right.
You know.
Right. Right.
If Singapore are able to do this, well, if you look at LCS, they are doing this.
Yep.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
For next season.
Yep.
Or not even next season. Already now.
Yeah.
Already have their team. That should be the right way.
Right.
Yeah.
But okay, just looking back, right? It's very interesting, right? Okay, let's say now, Syed, you're an assistant. You have your own head coach, for example, as in a head coach and a team, maybe 2 or 3 fellas, right?
Yeah.
Now, next season, let's say you are going to a different club, for example, and then the same 3 would preferably go to the next club, but somehow in Singapore it's not that possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes the head coach has already been chosen.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
You know, so that is a problem. Some very good points, interesting points there. You know, and especially Hasrin bringing out, you know, the fact that whether that the ego can drop a little.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's important as well. Now, very important, right? We talk about the relationships between the coach and head coach, or the assistant coach and the coach. How important, how very, very important is that relationship? I want to discuss that. I think it's very important we talk about that because we've seen fallouts.
Yeah.
Head coach, assistant coach. Don't know what the reason is. You know, could be differences in tactics or whatever. How important is this relationship to you, Syed, between the head coach and the assistant coach?
I think it's very important because before this you were saying about the different thoughts of tactics. For me as an assistant coach, I'm just like, for example, like normally this is what he does. He has something in mind. He will present to me.
Okay.
Now I want to hear what you say.
Okay.
But in the end of the day, it's his decision. I can give him my thoughts of it.
Right.
Probably he wants a second opinion.
Yeah.
I can't just go to him and say that, okay lah, okay, okay lah, okay. Then what's the point of having an assistant coach? I'm supposed to banter with him, challenge him, and see that if this player cannot do this job, what are you gonna do next?
Right.
You know, if they started attacking from this way, what are you gonna do with this?
Did
player?
that happen?
Of course,
Discussions
definitely.
like that? Yeah.
Of course. And so, then he will tell me like, okay, if this happen, this guy will move in. I say, okay, you prefer that? Okay, that is what he wants.
Has he taken your decision, not decision, as in your discussions and your suggestions on board and used it in a game?
Of course, during the game, definitely.
Yeah.
He will sit down and then ask me, how? And then, you know, especially during halftime, we will sit down outside first, discuss who's going to put in next.
You see that a lot happening nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, if you talk about maybe 10 years back or whatever, I don't think that happened. You know, before, it used to be just the head coach, you know, making decisions, and the discussion, it wasn't there really. You know, and it's also good on the head coaches as well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's willing to actually do that.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the trust may not be there.
Yeah.
You know, how about you, Hasrin, at Tanjong Pagar this year?
Yeah. The question will be, that should be the number one. It's very, very important. Alright, Ken. Without that's the most important thing for me, because why? Like what I agree with Azmi. If, for example, your assistant is only there for him to assist, then it's going to be a problem.
Okay.
So he needs to voice out, but at the end of the day, the head coach needs to decide. But it's a very, very good point there. But not all coaches are able to take that.
Okay.
You know, like I said, the ego, you must put away the ego and think what's best for the team.
Has there been quarrels?
Yes. There have been quarrels. I mean, for us, it's like we disagree, but we try to finish it off by maybe at the end of the day, everything should be solved.
I want to ask you guys this question. Has there been a I told you so moment? Like there has been discussion and you told the head coach, okay, maybe this could this could happen, and then he said, okay, yeah, you know, and then went on ahead with his opinion in the game, and then something happened, and then you said, you see, I told you so.
So far for me, no. So far for me, no.
Are you being nice?
No, really. So far, no.
Same with me. So far,
So far,
not
no.
yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Maybe in your head it did.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
You didn't say it out,
Yeah,
but in your head, right?
Yeah.
How do you deal with frustrations like that? I'm sure you've had frustrations like that. Like you know, I just want to tell him that.
I mean, for me, I've never kept it. You know,
Okay.
whatever opinions I have, I will
Okay.
just say it to him
Okay.
because I know in the end of the day he will
Okay.
decide.
Okay.
Because I feel like if I don't say it, what if this is a good opinion? But I'm just scared. I would just probably tell him in a nice way,
Yeah,
say,
of course.
hey, no, if you were to put this guy out, you know, maybe we should give this guy a chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there were a couple of times, like, for example, we were going back and forth about Harif Kanadi
Right.
in 2019.
Right.
Okay, so we wanted to put him earlier for the season.
Yeah.
And then Makno said like, I don't think he's ready,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Then Singapore Cup, we put him and then he played well. And he has played ever since
Yeah.
until today before he go NS.
Right.
And then when he played so well in Singapore Cup, right? And that is when I told Makno, we should have played him in the league, lah. You know?
Right.
But who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought? It's a gamble.
It's not really I told you so.
Ah.
It's like kind of, you know, maybe we should have put him, you know,
Yeah.
as in a we. You made it into a we.
So the relationship we had were like, we always come to a conclusion.
Right.
Like, yeah, like, I know. I should have done that. It's not as if like it's a bad kind of thing lah. It's a
Right.
good thing.
Okay. Nice. Now I want to talk to you guys about this as well. The boundaries that assistant coaches should have or must have, or I don't know. You know, you guys tell me, right? Are there anything that is off limit to an assistant coach as with respect to what the head coach does?
During the match, personally, I feel yes.
Okay.
Unless you are given the authority by the head coach to do what Azmir and Makno relationship that they had.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, you cannot be someone who is on the touchline 24/7 giving instruction. I think that should not happen because you have a head coach there.
Right.
You are able to do that if your head coach told you so, but maybe not every single time.
Yeah.
This is something that's very interesting as well. Now, do you think as a head coach you would tell your assistant coach to be out there 24/7?
Yeah, I feel 24/7 definitely.
No, when I say 24/7 throughout the game,
Yes,
90 minutes.
I don't think so because maybe head coach also have mental block at certain point. You know, that's why you have an assistant coach who can look at other things. You know, but to be there as an assistant coach 24/7, I don't think so. It's right for you to do so. Like what I said, you must know your roles and responsibility.
Right.
Your roles and responsibility is to assist, not to be the head coach.
Right.
One day you're gonna be the head coach, then you can be on the touchline.
But what if the head coach has given the authority to the assistant coach to do so?
Yeah,
Syed.
then you answer.
You're scratching your head, Syed.
No, I've never experienced that before.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
it's always up and down with me and Ali. He like
Yeah.
Olin said he have a mental block sometimes.
Okay.
Something is going on, he will just go sit down. Somebody has to take responsibility,
Right.
you know. And then, even as an assistant coach, if I was given the authority, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
I wouldn't do it because I don't know. It just doesn't feel right
Okay.
for me.
Well, just to put this out there in the open, this is not something that you're talking about to go against anybody or what. It's just an opinion about what we think, and I do get it as well because you look at all the leagues in the world, right? You never ever see the assistant coaches out there for 90 minutes, right?
I only see like the assistant coach is busy discussing with the head coach all the time, discussing. But it's always the head coach is at the front. Because I don't want to be in a point of time like Olin said. Why like suddenly the assistant coach go in to the sideline and giving his own instruction away from what we had planned. Like pandai-pandai go and give your own instruction. You know, that shouldn't happen.
Right. How about talking to players, giving tactics, individual tactics and stuff like that, speaking to them?
It's okay.
Yeah.
If that is why the role of assistant coach is very, very important.
Okay.
You must put it very clear. You are in line for whatever, whether it's the philosophy, the principle of the game of your club, so that you are in line with the head coach to give instruction because you are there every single day in the training session. It's okay. It's not a problem. You know, because you are in line. You are thinking the same way as the head coach. Yeah.
So to conclude that part, it's very important to draw a line between the roles, especially so that you don't go at loggerheads and stuff like that. Now, this is a personal question, right? And again, this could happen. This might not happen to you guys, but you know it may, right? In the event the head coach is sacked, right, and you are offered the position, what do you do, Hasrin?
Oh my. Okay.
And sacked, let's say in the middle of the season.
Yes.
And then that's one. And then at the end of the season, when the head coach is not renewed, contract is
Okay.
not renewed or whatever. So
Yeah.
I give you two scenarios, right?
Yeah.
So halfway through.
My answer is very simple.
Right.
All right. I'm a man of principle.
Right.
I'm very important for me is loyalty. That's me. That's me. All right, Ken. I won't take the job.
If it happens halfway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Unless it happened between me and Noali back in 2017.
Great. So
Alright,
this is a
Ken,
real life.
Yeah. So 2017, myself and Noali, we have a very close relationship in
Okay.
terms of our coaching days, from taking the license together and then going on to be assistant and all that. So I was asked to leave from the job in Geylang. Personally, I told him, you go and take the job.
Right.
Because you are the best person now. But if you ask me personally, I won't even think about taking that job if my head coach is leaving and then he just told me that I'm leaving, then it's up to you. It's up to you meaning, or you decide.
So you won't
I won't. Yeah.
halfway through the season.
If for me, I won't.
What if the coach was not part of the deal with you? That means you were recruited independently from him.
Yeah.
That means you know
Maybe independently, you don't have a relationship with the head coach.
Yeah.
Maybe if you aspire to be a head coach, yeah, you should take the
So
job.
what happens
Yeah.
if it happens at the end of the season?
At the end of the season, like I said, it goes back to what we if the model is the head coach is the one who brings in all the assistant,
Okay.
you should live together.
Okay.
But if the head coach is the head coach and you are being employed separately,
Yeah.
then it's a
Right.
different story.
How about you, Syed?
Yeah.
Tough question, this one.
This one is very tough for me because I'm still young.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
if you're
but
good, if you're good enough, you are old enough.
the thing is, for me, is like I probably will ask them if this is a interim.
Okay.
You know, if it's an interim until the end of the season, because I don't want it to, because I will know whether I'm ready or not. But I will never know I'm ready or not until I actually take the job.
Okay.
You know, you wouldn't know. But if I were to take it like in an interim basis while they are looking for a new coach, you know,
Okay.
I will take it.
Okay.
You know, but then at the end of the season, if I do well and they offer me this job, and then like Olin said, and then I will have to choose.
Right.
Everything has to go on my plan.
Okay.
So, but even if they decided at the end of the year, they decided to take a new coach, by all means, you know, for me personally,
right.
because I still feel that I have a lot to learn. As I said before, when I was assisting Noali, it's a huge responsibility to get a head coach position. So
Okay, let me ask you: would you be a head coach now?
now,
As in, you know, knowing the responsibilities and
Olin, you think I ready?
no, not whether you are ready or not. Do you think maybe in 2 years, 3 years, it doesn't matter how long?
No, of course. I mean, I always have a aim whenever I go into coaching.
But wait, what is your current track right now? Sports or the media?
Now, yeah, that's the thing. People always think of it like, oh, maybe Azmir is just doing this for, you know, for leisure or something.
Are you?
Like that. Actually, no. I've been doing coaching for 10 over years now.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, in Singapore, we are not signed by 4 or 5 years contract. You know, jobs come and go.
Yeah.
I still have to do something to earn a living.
Yes.
So the reason why I was doing that is because I was doing part-time coaching. Of course, in the end of the day, I still have to earn something. Some people drive Grab, some people do something else. But it's just me that I had the chance to actually do media stuff. So I just took it.
Of course.
But my main focus has always been football, because that is my full-time job for the last 10 years.
Nice.
You know, and if I was, to answer your question, if I was given the opportunity to be a head coach, no Ali said I'm ready,
Are you ready?
I'm
So
ready.
he said you're ready.
Yeah. He said I'm ready.
Listen, I have to tell you this,
Ah.
okay? And not because you're here. No, Ali did say that you have what it takes in
Yeah.
terms of the coaching bit, right?
Yeah.
You have what it takes, but
And
it's the next step.
Then you'll make mistake, but you learn from it, you become better.
Yeah.
But I think you should. For me, we need these younger coaches to step in.
You've been talking a lot about Geylang. How about Balestier? What's happening there?
well,
What was your role?
you know, so I actually came in February this year. Because last year I was with F17 Academy.
Okay.
Because of the pandemic,
Yeah.
things didn't work out. So I was ready to go on media full time. And then Darwin called me and said that I need you here in Balestier.
Okay.
And I said, okay, let's talk and see.
Yeah.
So he gave me an academy manager role, but then at the same time, he wants me to help out with the first team.
Okay.
Extra pair of hands won't kill.
Okay.
And then of course I came in to Balestier. Initially I was helping out with Marco, giving Marco things that I see, you know, based on my experience, because he said I've experienced this before as assistant coach.
Yeah.
And I came in I think 1 week before the season starts.
Okay.
So whatever I see was from a third eye where nobody have seen
Okay,
before. So he was getting feedback from me, and as the season goes along in training, we discuss a lot, give him my opinions, and at the bench, he will always turn and look at me and Rosman to ask like, so how now? So I think it's always a good relationship. Coach Marco is a very experienced coach. I think I learned a lot being an assistant to Noali and also Marco.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of helped me with my coaching journey as well.
Right.
Bro, he miss Noali.
Yeah, looks like it. The way he's been speaking.
No, Noali, he miss you.
Hasbi, I want to ask you, right, as
Yeah.
an assistant coach, not as the head coach,
Yeah.
as an assistant coach, what are the things that you picked up along the way with your head coaches throughout the years? Something that or maybe one or two things that you thought, maybe you're still using right now as the head coach. Have you ever?
The ideas
Okay.
that I pick up from the head coaches in terms of the planning, the session, maybe I can say the philosophy or the principle that can open up your mind. Oh, okay, this is a good one that you know one day when you become a head coach you can apply this. And because you are still learning.
Yeah.
you know.
So what have you learned specifically?
Specifically, I guess I can say at this point of time, maybe two things.
Okay.
Players recruitment is very, very important.
Yeah.
And also the principles. If you know what you want,
Right.
you have the idea
Right.
that you're going for the main principle. So you must follow your principle.
Okay.
You cannot suddenly say, oh, this is not good enough. You get what I mean?
Okay.
And then we always look aside the what did I say just now? Players recruitment.
Okay.
I feel this is the most important
Yeah.
thing. Whether in Singapore
Very much.
or the coaches must look at this to suit your style. Then you can move on and work on your.
You know, this plan you were talking about, you must stick to it throughout the season. You know, it can be very tough. You know, that bit, because especially after first 4 or 5 games, you start losing games, and you must be thinking, damn, what do I do now? Do I change it? Do I, you know? So that is a very difficult. It's a fine balance. You know, you know how maybe you can tweak it a little bit, but then not. You know, it's a very.
But this is the common word used. Believe in the process.
Trust the process. Right?
Can.
Is that a fat? You know.
Trust the process.
Yeah. It's.
Bro, I'll give you an example.
Good.
Look at Tanjong Pagar.
Right.
Alright, kan? Last year is our participation year.
Right.
Okay, last minute inclusion, no players. We just pick up, we participate.
Yeah.
Look at this year. I think we did well because the belief that the players have on the technical stuff. We believe in the principles of the game, our principle, and then we move on. And by the end of the season, which is yesterday, you can see how we end up at the end of the season. So it's always the process. It's always the process.
That's why I always say that don't judge the team on its first year, especially with a new coach and a new team, because the process is not easy. You know, implementing on things that you actually believe on, or how you want to execute it, it takes a lot of time. 2019, I think we started the league Geylang started very bad. We won first game, Aspirations, and then the next 6 games we lost.
Yeah.
But it takes some time to actually implement what we actually want to do, because believe it or not, players at the SPL level still needs coaching
Yeah.
week in, week out.
But it is the nature of the sport, the game, the professional sports, the nature of the profession as well. Sometimes you do not have time.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
You
in
know,
Singapore, especially in Singapore.
the axe will fall.
Yeah.
You know, and you've already seen it in the English Premier League already,
Yeah.
right? After
Yeah.
a few games, but you know, we're talking about SPL as well,
Yeah.
and that has happened before as well,
Yeah.
right? And lastly, right, where do you go from here? Syed, let's start off with you. Where just set any set goals for you in the next maybe 2 or 3 years to come?
I think I said it before this.
Yeah.
So I want to be the head coach.
Yeah.
You know, I think I've done being an assistant coach for the last 3 years or so.
Okay.
Maybe another year or two for me.
Okay.
And I think I'm gonna be ready for the S League,
Yeah.
for the Singapore Premier League. Given the chance, I think now, given the chance, I'll take it.
Who would your assistant be then?
Wow.
Good question.
Well, I had a very good relationship with Isa Alim.
Yeah.
Our
Which Isa Alim?
The ex-Lions
Okay,
draft
okay,
captain.
okay.
Because when I was coaching National Under 15, he was my fitness and assistant coach.
He's at the sports school now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So back then in 2018, he was my assistant and
Okay.
fitness coach, and I had a good relationship with him. He understands what I want, and he's able to execute whatever I want.
Right.
So I'll consider him as one of my the one on my list.
There you go. You heard it first on the Coaches Dugout
Oh,
podcast.
alamak.
It is an advertisement, not an application, but advertisement, right? For Syed Azmir and Isa Halim. You know, Isa Halim, you are listening in, please. You know, join hands with Syed Azmir, apply for a job somewhere. You know, together.
I'll put it on Straits Time.
Hasrin, where do
Yeah.
you go? Okay. Just for now. Next year, you still at Tanjong Pagar. I
Yes,
hope.
hopefully, yes, yeah.
And what is the target for now?
For you mean Tanjong Pagar?
Yes, of
For
course.
next season?
Yeah.
We are still in the midst of finalizing the budget for the team next season.
Right.
We'll go on from there actually. You know, we finish off 5th this season.
Yeah.
And then it's a 200%. Helman always very good with numbers. So it's 200% improvement from last season.
Okay.
So definitely we want to do better, of course.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can do better. We just look and see what's coming for us the next few weeks, and then then we can set ourselves a good target for next season.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you so much, Mr. Syed Azmir and
you.
Hasrin Jailani, for being here on the Coaches Dugout podcast. And listen, it has been brilliant, right? Because some of the ideas that you put forth, I think listeners out there, especially fans, right, who tweets a lot and stuff like that, they sometimes they are not aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
The roles, the responsibilities, and what goes on and whatnot. So thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure, Mr.
Thank you,
Hasrin.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Guys.
Well done against Tanjong Pagar.
Thank
and
you,
good
thank
luck
you.
for next year. And Syed
Alright.
Azmir as well.
Yeah,
Good
thank
luck
you.
for your future
Thank you.
and your applications with Isa Alim. This has been the Coaches Dugout podcast, the podcast by Coaches for Coaches. And please follow us on Spotify. Follow us on YouTube as well. We are there. Till the next episode. Cheers.